guys, I hope you're all doing fantastically today. Before we get started, let me do this quick disclaimer. This video is for entertainment purposes only. Everything is just an opinion. Whatever you choose to do or spend your money on is completely up to you, luxury or not. Okay, so in today's video, you've seen the title, Luxury Fatigue. And the reason I'm talking about this is I was actually struggling in this past week to feel, inspired in the luxury space. And I had to pause and reflect. And I realised that I was going through what I would call luxury fatigue. Now, I'm by no means an expert or anything like that, so I can't offer any advice. But this was just my personal experience that I wanted to share with you guys, and maybe it's something you can also identify with. So grab a drink or a snack and let's talk about it. So what is fatigue? So for me, in my experience with this luxury fatigue, tiredness or boredom is something else. So boredom is, I'm looking at all of these items, none of them are interesting to me. It's the same old thing over and over again, and it's just not for me. That's not necessarily the case, because there's lots of variety right now in luxury. Yes, there are some things that are, more like each other or inspired by other things that already exist. But in actuality, there's still a lot of variety out there, a lot of brands offer lots of various different products in many different departments, right? And it's not necessarily tiredness, because if I was just tired of luxury, I would just, take a break, not look at anything online, don't look at anything on social media for a while, and I would come back feeling refreshed. But that's not the case either. It's something deeper, it's something that has shifted within my mindset, a fatigue, a tiredness that just a simple break won't cure, and it needs something more to help address it. So I had to pause and really think about what that means to me. So the first thing that I realized that was going on for me was a sense of this pushing and pulling in luxury. Stuff that was kind of pushing me away from it, and this kind of pulling away from it as well, actually, if I'm being honest. So let me kind of explain what that is and see if this identifies with anybody else. So the first is this feeling of the products just being everywhere, right? So you heard me mention earlier, being able to just take a break from online and social media and these things. Well, the truth is it's everywhere, right? So I would almost have to take a break off the internet entirely to avoid luxury in terms of ads or kind of promotions, or, even if I'm watching, a music video, there's placement product there, right? So there is just this saturated space right now of luxury goods in general. The other thing is that there are all these constant new releases. So with that, it's almost overwhelming if you're somebody that enjoys luxury and likes to just, see what's going on and kind of what's available and what the latest kind of collabs are that are coming up, and, just to keep up to date. And there's so much that it just feels overwhelming. That kind of stuff is pushing you away from, or me, pushing me away from luxury, in the traditional sense. Because for me, luxury has always been about curating the few items that I do have with a very considered thought and time and saving, and then being able to go in and make that specific purchase And this leads me to the things that pull me away from it. The first is the increased prices, right? Let's just talk about it. With the increased prices over the past few years, it makes my experience far more difficult, in that I'm somebody that likes to be able to save for a luxury purchase, plan it out, budget for it, and make sure that when I, make that purchase, that nothing else is impacted. But with the price increases as they were, in recent times, it makes it more difficult to do that, because every time you save, you end up being priced out over and over again. But it's not just that, it's even if it's affordable, right? So even if you're somebody that has very significant disposable income, let's just say that's the case, it still leaves a bad taste when you paid X amount for something 6 months ago, and suddenly now it is 30% more expensive, 40% more expensive, and you're thinking, wait, what is the actual value of this item? And it makes you, kind of rethink the value of the item that you have in regards to, is it actually worth the price I'm going to pay for it? Now, there can be a huge debate about luxury in general, right? That some people say it would be overpriced regardless. Some people say, well, it's about what you like, and so on and so forth. But I think it becomes more confronting when you are literally seeing the prices increase in front of you over a few months, rather than over, a year or two, to the percentages that they are now. So I think with that, it's kind of making people have to confront that question potentially sooner than they think. The other piece that's kind of pulling me away into this luxury fatigue is the quality challenges, right? It's no longer just a straightforward, I love this, I'll grab it, I'll buy it. Now when you're buying things, it's quite advisable from what others have said to me, that you need to go ahead and check the item, make sure that it's put together well, make sure there aren't any lumps or bumps that shouldn't be there, make sure that there's no damage to the materials, there's no cracks or scratches, these kinds of things, right? And it does kind of take away from the sparkle of purchasing luxury. It kind of reminds me of when you go to the supermarket and you go and buy, for example, some eggs, and you have to pop open the carton and make sure none of the eggs are broken before you buy them. It kind of takes that sparkle away. The other piece is that is actually pushing me into this luxury fatigue, or pulling me into this luxury fatigue, is that the items are just difficult to obtain. Now, I know earlier I said, you save, you plan, you go ahead, you make your purchase. So it's never a case of, I want it, I'll grab it the next day for me. However, when you are ready to make that purchase, it can be months, maybe even sometimes over a year before you get the item. And now I'm not talking about certain brands that supposedly, have a quota and these things. I'm not talking about that brand or any brands like that. I'm just talking the regular bags that come out, and the stock is so limited, or the release is so limited, that before you're even blinking, it's gone. And to be honest, because items come out so quickly, and there's something else may come, 3 months from now, 6 months from now, it kind of means that you almost wait for the one that comes out with the right timing, to where you have the funds to make the purchase. You're letting the timing drive, or potentially drive, a purchasing decision, rather than the item that you truly want. And the last piece of what's pulling me into this luxury fatigue is it's just a less relaxed experience purchasing an item. You know, when I spend for what I consider a significant amount, now to these brands it may not be, but for me personally it is, when I spend a significant amount of money on something that I love and want to use and keep and enjoy, and it becomes part of my day-to-day life, that I get to have this piece I just get to enjoy. And when the purchasing experience is, you feel rushed, you're waiting outside, you get into the store. This is if it's a store experience, right? You get into store, it's okay, what do you need? The places, people are running around everywhere. You're rushing to get the item, and it's like, okay, you're going to buy it, or, are we going to move on? And this kind of rushed, less luxury experience just, again, takes the sparkle out of it. And when you don't feel relaxed in doing something like this, which, for many people, it's a passion that they have, it kind of takes the passion out of it, right? So what for me is going to help take me through this luxury fatigue current mindset into a more sustainable mindset in luxury. So let's talk about it. So I do have a video, and I think I'll link it probably somewhere around here, which talks about buying your first luxury item and the 10-point checklist. That's a helpful piece in terms of choosing your first luxury handbag. For me, it was helpful. It's what I did. But the luxury fatigue piece is a slight variation of that. So the first thing is, I had to choose what I can afford, right? Certain things I may like are no longer in my price bracket. That's it. It's no longer affordable to me. I have to choose what I can afford. That means certain things are now off limits. The price increases have just priced me out. And I'm okay with saying that, and I'm okay to be in that reality, right? For now. So that's the first thing. If I want to make a purchase, I choose what I can afford. And then after affordability, it's about choosing what I will use and what I like. Now, what I mean by that is, don't let FOMO drive my purchasing decisions, right? So if I see something and I go, oh my gosh, it's only out now and it's a single drop, and if I miss it, I'm never going to get it, blah, 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 blah. Doesn't matter. What am I actually going to use day to day? What is my real today lifestyle? What do I do now? Where do I go now? What kind of handbags would I use according to my lifestyle today? And buy according to that. Next thing, if I don't want to purchase luxury, I won't. That's it. If I want to go, and I think I'm going to have a video coming up in the next few weeks showing this. I recently purchased a bag that is from the high street. It's just a regular branded bag. It cost, I think it was about £25, and it's just a kind of string mesh bag that you kind of take around. It's like a summer bag, and for me, that's in the past few weeks. I've actually worn that more than my luxury items. I don't let the fact that something's not luxury drive me away from purchasing it if I like it, if I can afford it, and if I will use it, right? So now it's around having a wider interest amongst things that I use and will enjoy, being more practical as well as within the luxury space. And it may sound boring, but when you do these old-fashioned things and I focus on me instead of what social media dictates is the latest trend, the latest thing, the hottest whatever, it's going to only drive me to make good decisions for my personal for my personal lifestyle and the personal circumstances that I have. And that's the thing, right, that matters the most. It's about making decisions that work for you within the life you have today. So I apologize if I seem a bit ranty on this video, but for me, to summarize it, luxury fatigue is something that I'm experiencing. I now understand better for myself what it is, this push and pull, the various different factors at play, and really me having to recenter myself into what I want and how I'm going to go about it. But also now, because it is just more of an effort to get the items that I may like, I'm just going to be more picky about them, right? Because my time is so valuable to me, and so is, the money that I work hard to earn. So with all of that in mind, I'm going to be making very specific intentional decisions. So that's it for this video, guys. So please like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Take care, everybody. Bye for now.